Hi there, well I'm back out and thanks for being patient if you follow this channel and you haven't seen any videos for a while. I took a month off and it is a really important thing to do because the YouTube will drive you mad, I think, if you try and do it all year round. It just stops being fun, and I took it at a bloody convenient time, as it turns out, because as you know, probably in this country, we had the most incredible May and June and everyone was getting their combine harvesters out, and it started raining for about a month and it didn't stop. And I feel very sorry for some of the farmers because a lot of the crops fields I would usually be on now, I just haven't been done. And they're still in crop, and I'm lucky I've got this pasture to come to, and I found wonderful things here, even though I've been here a lot. And I'm going over ground that I've been over a million times, but I'm just going to try and see if I can dig out some deep and wispy targets that I haven't found before. I have found already, if you saw from a couple of videos ago, I found the most beautiful acorn mounts, 17th century acorn mounts in this field, and I just found another one. Now they're not the rarest things in the world, but my God, I mean, it's just in the most beautiful condition. And finding them like this is quite rare. Just makes it all worthwhile. And I've just got another signal down here. And I can see it's green, but I don't know exactly what it is yet. And it's a buckle. It's a really, really lovely buckle. It's a little medieval buckle which I haven't come across before. And it was what? Seven, eight, 9 inches down. So that's just perfect. I've been over this land tons of times and I haven't found that yet, so I'm thrilled. That's just made it all worthwhile. Just goes to show, fields are never done supposedly, but that's just a lovely one. That's a really nice example. I can go home now. At the moment it's just really nice to be out. Well, that's a bit squeaky. Sounding much the same as it was before I started digging. Yeah, that's just a bit too ballsy really, but I'm going for deep signals. I'm trying to. I'm not digging any stuff off the surface today. I'll put up a card up to the rant I had up here digging shallow targets not long ago. Right, it's out. That sounds okay, funnily enough. Don't think it's a ring pull, but I tell you what it bloody well is. Oof. It's just a cartridge, but they'll fool you every time, old cartridge ends. You've got to dig them, you can't ignore them. Because look how that sounds, and look to what I've just found. I'll show you of me unearthing it. But this is an absolute beauty. I don't usually like finding thimbles, but you can tell, can't you? That just sounds nice, so it's higher pitched. The dullness of that copper really comes through. That was quite ballsy and not too deep, but it's a really lovely thimble. Now, I don't think it's the earliest in the world. I don't think it's 15th or 14th century or anything fancy like that, but it's certainly got quite a lot of age to it. I mean, I'm guessing late 16th century perhaps onwards. It's a really good one. Nice bulky thimble. I don't mind finding these. I do mind finding these. Well, this one might be nice. Very faint. I've just seen the estate manager who's very kindly turned off an electric fence, which has stopped me doing a bit of land over there for years. So we're going to go over there now after digging this. It could be really exciting because I have found a couple of things on it, but the interference is so bad. It doesn't just give you signals all the time amongst your possible signals. I think if it's giving you interference, it's stopping any signals getting through at the time the interference comes through. So I was quite lucky to find what I found, but we'll go there now. But anyhow, check this out. If you can't hear it, it's because I can hardly hear it either. It's so faint. Yeah, I'm only just picking it up. It's probably deep iron. But I'm willing to risk all that now. I've got everything obvious out of this field, I'm sure of it. I damn well should have done. I've been here enough. I think there's deep iron, I'm afraid, but anyway. Yeah, my God, I mean, that's 12 inches. No, I can see it. Most exciting thing in the world, I don't think, but my God, look how deep it is. It's a really lovely hoop. My God, they don't come out. If you know me from these videos, you know I love a hoop. And I'm pretty sure that that's not, I'm not going to say that that's likely to be a brooch or a buckle of sorts. It's not. It's a harness thing of sorts, but it's damn old. And it's in just perfect condition because it's been down there for centuries. And it's just a lovely one. I'm really pleased with that. I don't want to really start these videos on too good a note because I find that there's just so much to live up to if you're finding really nice things. And when you just have an ordinary day, I notice that viewership, if I haven't got gold in the title, then well, they switched this fence off and my God, wonderful, it's silent. So I'm quite excited about this. The grass is really long in this section, but it's still detectable. And it has been raining, but even so, the dais is on fire. The sand is really nice and moist, the ground here now. Perfect detecting conditions. But my God, at 6 inches, I found a little bit of copper, a little quarter, but it's a part of a Roman coin. I don't know what it says. I can see some lettering in the legend. I can see a nose and a chin. I don't know who it is. It looks fairly barbarous to me. But if we're finding tiny bits like that at that far down, then that's very hopeful. I'm pleased with that. Good sign. Roman down here. Well, hooray! It's literally just down here, and it's a Roman coin. It's a little 4th century House of Constantine Roman coin, I think. And it's going to clean up beautifully. It's in really good condition. I can see clearly an emperor on one side and lots of legend. I can see a CON, I think, so it's Constantine or Constans or Constantius, one of that later lot, I think. And on the other side is not sure what's going on there, but it's in lovely condition. Is it yeah, look, yeah, I thought it was the guy spearing the fallen horseman, but it's not. It is a soldier and 2 soldiers and a standard, I think. And there's the mint mark as well, CTI something. That's lovely. I'm really pleased with that. There's not that many signals here, and there's a bit more trash, and the ring pulls are even deeper. But that gives a lot of hope, a little coin like that. It's Roman here, definitely. Now that's definitely worth a dig. It's deep enough not to be rubbish, I think. I like the sound of that. Just perfect, really. And I found another little Roman coin, which I'll show you in a minute, which I'm thrilled with. It's quite hard work down here, but I think it's going to be worth it. I'm going to take it fairly slowly. And it's nice to be on a bit of the park I've not been on before. Look at that chalk, wow. Not sure if that's a good sign. A big bit of flint. Don't find that much of that up here, so it's an unusual bit, I think. Gosh, right, well, let's just see. Well, the bad news is it's not very deep. I've no idea what that is. I don't think it's very nice. Very odd looking piece of farm machinery, I think. Just isn't that the way. But here's the little coin I found. I got really excited because it's slightly concave, and I thought that might make it Celtic or Celtic even. But no, it's a Roman. It's a Roman coin, and it's a Roman commemorative, though not a particularly. That looks like it might be a bit barbarous as well, perhaps. But it's unusual it being convex, and if it were, well, I just don't know. But it's a mid 4th century bronze Roman commemorative. When Constantine founded Constantinople, he issued coins celebrating it, but he didn't want Rome to forget that it was important still too. So he produced these Rome commemoratives with the she-wolf feeding Romulus and Remus on them, just to remind Rome and its citizens that he hadn't forgotten Rome, and that Rome was still a very important part of the empire, even though he'd moved his the empire's base to headquarters, as it were, to Constantinople. And talking of headquarters, I'm going to give you a minute on barbarous coins, because I find so many of them. I just want to explain what they are. Hi there. Well, gosh, it was lovely being out that day, especially after all the rain we've had. And it's now the middle of August, and it's horrible out there again. Not even Taskies wants to go out. So that's an idea of how crappy the weather is. But I don't think it's going to last. But I have had some really good detecting days recently, taking advantage of the weather, and I think I've got some really good videos to come out. But it was really nice also taking a good month break from basically detecting full stop. I mean, I do so much of it, but for various reasons I had other things to do, so I didn't really detect, and I certainly didn't make any films and stuff. But I'm back now and really enjoying it. Anyhow, I want to play Spot the Difference. I find so many barbarous coins. I just want to do a really quick chat about them. Spot the Difference. This is one of the best copper coins I've ever found. It's Crispus. It's early to mid 4th century Roman bronze. The bust is absolutely fabulous. I mean, look, he's a good looking bloke in this one. Crispus Nob, he never became emperor. I've done a thing about Crispus before. Poor bloke, had a bit of a tough one and was murdered by his father Constantine very young. Anyway, so he's got Nob written by him, which is that fact that he was Caesar, never emperor, never Augustus. And on the back, it's got a wreath with Vot on it. The legend's absolutely fabulous all the way round. I mean, this is just an incredible coin, absolutely beautiful coin. Now, here are 3 more coins. I'm going to put them next to old Crispus here. And now, as you can see, they are very different in quality and general appearance, and that's because they're barbarous coins, even though we'll come to that one in a minute, which is actually a very, very good one. Barbarous coins, they came around sort of early part of the 3rd century, and you get them continuing from then. The most popular period for these coins tends to be in the sort of late 3rd century, sort of 250 onwards. And they are copying the radiate crowns of the time, which are the sort of spiky helmets or sort of headwear that the emperors wore. There are loads of different reasons to why these barbarous coins came into circulation. They are contemporary copies. They're not necessarily forgeries. They seem to have been very widely accepted and may well have also been produced with the consent of the empire itself. They were produced in Britain, Gaul, the sort of German regions, Spain. They do seem to be less produced the further south of the Mediterranean you go. You don't get so many from sort of Italy and southern France, apparently. But Britain and Gaul were very sort of prevalent places that these coins were minted. They generally copy the sort of later emperors of the 3rd century. You've got Tetricus, Claudius, Gallienus, Victorinus, people like that. Even though it's hard to tell which emperors were actually being copied. Now, these three are absolutely fabulous, as I said. Generally speaking, if they look faintly comic, a bit witchy, a bit wizardy, a bit sort of pointy and beardy, and the legends basically make very little sense at all, then you've probably got a barbarous coin on your hand. The reverses are very similar. They just are a little bit gobbledygooky. It is possible to tell which regions they're from and who made these coins. There are lots of studies have been done on them. This is a very good book, Coinage of Roman Britain. That's got a very good section on barbarous coins. But suffice to say that they are incredibly charming, often incredibly well made, often so well made that they're hard to differentiate. These, on the other hand, are fairly easy. As I said, the legends don't really mean anything. The gods and deities don't really match up with the emperors they're trying to copy. And they're just really fabulous coins, and they have an awful lot of charm about them. Now, the one I found on the day, because they were copied, as I said, they were mainly late 3rd century. The barbarous radiates are the sort of common name for these coins. But it's not to say that was just when that they didn't continue. They were the Constantinian coins, 4th century coins, and even sort of later, the heirs of Constantine and Valens and Gratian and all that lot are commonly copied. Whether forgeries or with the consent of the empire. And this one is Urbs Roma, which is, as I said at the time, which is a really lovely type, and you get a very clear image of the wolf feeding Romulus and Remus, minted in about 330, as I said. So Constantine was basically wanting to let Rome understand that Rome was still important and not just his new capital. And I thought this may be barbarous. I'm not so sure now. There are plenty of barbarous copies of this type. Usually, Roma always faces left in these coins. If Rome is facing the other way, facing right, then you've probably got a barbarous coin on your hands. But I've looked at this, and even though it's pretty crude, and I can hardly make out Roma, even though I can make out the wolf. Really, really well on it. I'll compare with a really good version of this. So that could be barbarous. The fact that it's also sort of slightly concave, I said at the time, makes me think that it may not be a sort of proper Roman coin. But anyway, let me just see if I can find. Here's one of my trays of Roman coins. Yeah, there's a good one. Have a look at that. And see if we've got any more. And there's a good one, right, 2 there. Sorry, I've gone over a minute. Now let's just have a look. So one, good one, good one. And there is what I think might be the barbarous one. You decide. Anyway, they're really lovely coins to find. They're very collectible, very charming, but more often than not fairly easy to identify as barbarous. And that's what we mean when we talk about barbarous coins. Contemporary copies, effectively. Anyway, thank you very much for listening to all that, and let's go out to the fields. Well, that's very jumpy, but it's a sort of funny bit of field, this. So I'm digging everything because I haven't really been here before. My gut feeling says iron, because it's more iron than it is. It's pretty horrible, but until I know what these sands mean, I do keep digging them generally. And then if it's horrible and nasty, then I'll leave them from now on. Someone's asked me, do I keep the remote in my pocket? The answer is I've never had one. I completely rely on just the light version, just the sounds and the audio coming through my coming through my ears. So I don't have the VDIs or lines or anything, but you get more than enough information through your lugs, quite frankly. Anything that can be shown you from a screen, you can actually hear instead. So I don't know what the screen or the numbers would be telling me. I don't really care. I will just make a mental note of what that is and whether to go for it again or not. Well, I've sort of lost the iron. That's all very strange. I reckon there'll be shallow iron in that clod. Speaker's playing up a bit, I'm afraid. Well, there's something here, I think. Something very small. It's a tiny piece of foil. Okay, so it might just be foil with iron. Sounds like Coke. You soon learn to the Deus does not love Coke quotations. You soon get to ignore Coke once you've dug it a couple of times. That really, quite honestly, that's not going to be anything but foil ever. But it did pick it up at a bit of depth, didn't it? Tiny piece of foil. Look, that's all it was. Well, that is a signal. I absolutely, I've learnt to love in this field. No iron, faint, deep, little bit jumpy, but just, that's perfect, absolutely perfect. Might not be any good, it might even just be a deep cartridge or rifle round, but I've probably gone very dark. As soon as the sun goes in, this camera can't deal with an automatic ISO, even though I have tried. Yeah, oh, that's what I've missed. That's what I've missed. That sound. I think I've dislodged it. Well, it's not much good, but it's old, and that's what gave that signal. It's a musket ball. It's just a squash musket ball, a really old one by the look of it. But so that's hit something, I imagine. But yeah, that's the signal. Those are the signals we want here. And that was deep. That's 8-9 inches, easy. Well, we'll end on this, but I'm afraid I'm not holding my breath. It just sounds a bit dull. But and it's been a bit sparse. It's not been a record-breaking day, but it's been a bloody nice one to start off the post-harvest, hopefully, 2023 campaign with a few Roman coins, medieval buckle, bits and pieces, thimbles. I'm really pleased. Lovely to be back out. What a nice way to start. Now that I think might just be a ring pull. Just doesn't sound deep enough. But I've had a lovely day and I'm just going to call it a day now. I've left a nice chunk of this new bit I can get onto because of the lack of electric fence to do in a couple of days' time. And that's actually the section where I found bits before. So yeah, horrible. It's shallow. It's going to be a ring pull, 100%. But I have found a couple of those Roman coins. They were quite shallow as well. And there it is. Ring pull. What a bugger. It's full of them. But I'm really pleased to be back. And as I said, I'm going to do this section in 2 days' time. So see you then. Thanks for watching.